Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RedSeaPodcast, and welcome to what we've officially dubbed ever since last year Chaos Season. Chaos Season. Why Chaos Season, you may ask? Chaos Season because shows may have gaps of 7 days, then one, then two, then six again, with how weird games are. But game season also because there isn't any game that's not of utter importance anymore. You have finals, you have playoffs, you have anything and everything in between. You have transfers in, transfers out, announcements, retirements, and so on and so on. So yeah, it's a bit of everything, hence why it got more or less fan dubbed as Chaos Season. But yeah, I love it. I can't say that I don't. We're busy. It's probably the most productive time content wise, so I couldn't be happier. And as always, I hope that all of you get the same enjoyment from the content as always. And I portray stuff in the most unique and yet chaotic way, as the show is known and loved for. But yeah, I really don't want to waste any time today, given what is happening and what we're talking about. Game one. Game one of a playoff series we've gotten very used to by now. Game one against an opponent that we have faced a few too many times by now in the postseason. Game one against an opponent that, of course, is nowhere near the standards we're used to them being. Familiar faces or not, Monaco is a team that's struggling. Monaco is a team that has been struggling. It's a team of 9 people. I mean, seeing a bench that empty really just throws me back even for a loop on benches from when I played, and I'm sure many people can relate that academy basketball sometimes, especially in the lower categories, like when you're like 16, 17, and definitely not on one of the top teams, can look very funny from an outside perspective. So standing here at 22 and seeing it on a professional standpoint is weird. But that doesn't change, that won't change for anything, that it's still AS Monaco. It's still a team that's a thorn on our side. It's still a team that may not have quantity, but it definitely has quality, as we saw from the man himself, Mike James. Diallo, even though he was on an off game, he still was very good. I mean, Blossom wasn't bad. Blossom is a player, he's very Draymond Green-ish, where you love that you hate him and you hate that you love him. But yeah, it's still a team full of quality, but it doesn't even come close to the quality that Olympiacos has. And I couldn't be happier to say that a lot of the points that I've been making, that we've been making together, honestly couldn't have been proven faster. Like, it only took not even a game it took a half for everything to actually come out, to actually be shown. And despite the first quarter being closer than needed due to a very surprisingly poor performance from long range, and due to the free throws again, in which I really got a heavy dose of not so pleasant flashbacks to the previous years, where even Tyler Dorsey was missing pairs of free throws. But aside from that, we found our rhythm. We slowly build from the second quarter onwards, and it was just a cruise, which of course ended in a plus 21, which can be both good and something to be cautious about. Because as I said, Monaco is a team that definitely does not have the bodies to even compete for a playoff series. But Monaco's quality can come back. Monaco's quality can react to a loss like that. And we can't even give them a sniff of a game. They'll want to react. They'll want to take one back, as is to be expected. And we need to show up even better than we did. Which on one hand does sound a bit insane. I know it sounds insane, given that, again, we won by 21 points. But we need to be consistent. We need to be as consistent as possible. We need to be as aggressive as possible. We definitely need to force more fouls. It worked on Hayes last night, but we definitely need to force more fouls on them to break out that weakness of a lack of rotation. And we need to just play like ourselves. One of the biggest positives that I personally have been screaming from the rooftops about is that Olympiacos looks the fullest that we've looked ever since Coach B came back, in my opinion. I am going to quote one of the Thrill 7 boys and say that we aren't really just acting like a hydra. You cut a head off and then another one grows. There is no one that doesn't get cover from someone else throughout the game. Like Tyler Dorsey started, well, not mediocre because it is Tyler, but Tyler didn't start to his own standards. Sasha had one of the best first halves that he could have. Milo needed a rest. Donta Hall came in and had like 3 blocks in 8 minutes. Thomas Walkup needed a rest. Corey Joseph, in my opinion, had his best game in an Olympiacos jersey. You can't stop this team. The mentality of, I'm going to work on him and stop him from being active doesn't work with this team. And that's the biggest blessing there is. Because, teams are going to target Tyler. Teams are going to target Sasha. Teams are going to target Milu, who had a game as well, which we'll get into. Teams are going to target Thomas, force Thomas to shoot like they did. But then you have a whole, for example, the 4 players I mentioned, you have a whole other level of quality to back these players up. And I didn't even mention Evan Fournier. The depth, the consistent quality of this team, the deeper you look in the depth, is insane. Like, speaking of the front line again, I am aware that I sound a bit like a broken record, but speaking of the front line again, Tyreek Jones did not need to play in this game. Even though I do slightly disagree on Tyreek getting a DMP. Like, as things stand, Tyreek's our third choice center. We left out Mustafa Fall. Like, we're talking about quality that's unfathomable, depth-wise. Like, you're telling me, it's exactly a point, I may even repeat it verbatim. You're telling me that we're going to go into the Greek Basket League playoffs and be able to use 2 of the 4 centers fully rested, and then you'll go back to the Euroleague and you'll have the 2 others not even getting a drip of sweat on their forehead before entering the game. The depth this team has. Like, okay, I know he's a bit of a divisive player, but Frank Ntilikina, the things that he can bring defensively on any game from the rotation point that he's at are equally crucial. It's an abundance of quality. It's an abundance of quantity as well, but it's one of the cases where no one is deemed unnecessary. It's not an overabundance. It's exactly to the point a superstar team needs to be at. And it's exactly to the point in which results, like yesterday, boom. It's exactly to the point in which we got to where we are here, right? Because the team just didn't magically get first place again. In again, the most chaotically competitive Euroleague for as long as I've been alive, that's for sure. The biggest Euroleague, the most exhausting Euroleague. You can't really even go on to physically describe the quality of this team. You can't even go on to physically describe that this team doesn't have any gaps in the depth. Like, find me another team in Europe that doesn't have any gaps in the depth. And I'm not talking about the 4th choice point guard. I'm talking about serious rotation. So, I mean, yesterday's game is a perfect example of why the perfect planning in the mix of quality and quantity will always win over the chaos ball of AS Monaco. And to pick it up where we left off, I feel like for the regular season, again, I keep sounding like a broken record. What is this man doing? Like, what is he doing? I have, rightfully so in my opinion, hated on the Greek commentary for the Euroleague many a time. But the reaction to that 3, that contested 3 from Yucatan, to quote Halliburton, I feel like I had the exact same reaction of absolute disbelief. And I'll go about quoting it as well. Sasha does that because he can. It's as stupid as that may sound. It's as simple as that. Sasha does that because he simply can. On his day, there's nothing that this man cannot do. Any talks that he's not the MVP, for me, are just salty. It's not even biased at this rate, it's just salty. I think it was Blossom Game that said, oh, Sasha's not that hard to guard. And the man just almost left the court crying. His levels above everyone, on his day especially, and I would dare argue that he's not just one of, if not the best power forward this competition has seen. I would argue he's the most effective one as well. I don't think there is any player with a better catch and shoot ability. I don't think there is any player that's better off the ball. The things this man is doing, and I've had this conversation many times, and I'll bring it up again. I know his stint with the Kings didn't work out, but the levels, again, not physicality-wise, just purely basketball-wise, the things he took with him from the NBA and brought back over the past few seasons that he's been here again have been unbelievable. And the fact that the Sasha that left back when he did, the MVP Sasha that left back when he did, came back, whatever happened last season, and pulled another MVP season out that is 3 times better than the last one. That fact alone, the fact that you can bring that up, is just mind-blowing to me. Of course, Sasha pulled out an effortless 20-2 with, let me actually check if I'm correct. Yeah, with a steal to his name. He doesn't set the bar, he is the bar. We've said that a lot of people will be crucial for how much success this team gets this season. We've talked about, and we will talk about, Tyler Dorsey, Corey Joseph and Tonta Hall, the two just out of nowhere heroes of this team that, again, I've been screaming about for months, for absolute months. And we've talked about everyone, Nico Milutinov, but ultimately, it all starts from this one. If Sasha keeps playing like he does, like he is playing, then I'm really a lot more comfortable than I was. Because let's not forget that Monaco and the chaos ball style, call it whatever you want to call it, that's not really a team that fits Sasha. They were wrestling after a point. I mean, Tyson is more than likely out for game 2. Sasha himself needed to get stitches. Corey Joseph just got clattered and needed to get a bandage. Tyler Dorsey is dealing with an injury. Like, they were wrestling after a point. It's a team that plays unnecessarily rough. And if Sasha can keep up the genuine MVP level performances, and what's there left to say in general? I'm sure that, as I said, he doesn't set the bar for the rest of the team. I'm sure that he is that bar, and I'm sure that he is gonna lift that bar along with his other teammates, as usual. And again, we've gone from the season MVP to yesterday's MVP, Nico Milutinov. I think I've said enough about the front line of Olympiacos, about the big men of Olympiacos that still I would stand here and argue that out of the top 5 centers in the league, we have the 3. I'm willing to genuinely argue for that. I'm willing to talk about that if anyone disagrees. But the things that we're seeing, and it's not the fact that they all bring incredible quality to a game. It's not the fact that they are all genuinely game changers. It's the fact that everyone brings something different. Milo has had a career season, a career defining, a career changing season. Call it whatever you may wanna. Donta Hall's rise in form to get him where he's at now, where he is arguably the most athletic big and arguably the most unguardable big in the Euroleague. And then you have Eric Jones. That's the most explosive big in the Euroleague, easily, in my opinion. I feel like Jonta and Tariq are now just first and second in that department. And then behind them, you have the best defensive big in the league. When and if needed, he may not even be needed in the Euroleague playoffs. And you're telling me that there was any chance the way they complement each other got ruined? You're telling me that there was anyone who seriously believed that both Nico Milutinov and Donta Hall wouldn't be equally as crucial in this series and in the Final Four as we go on? I feel like some people doubt things just to doubt them. I feel like some people need to complain about something. Like, even when stuff goes well, I saw it yesterday as well. In my humble, random opinion, yeah, you had some things to be concerned about, but there wasn't really anything to complain about in the performance itself. And the things that I saw written after every quarter, arguably. Again, to bring up an example, since we're talking about bigs, I questioned why Tarek didn't play as well, and I did express my disagreement. But the fact that someone, while we were up 20, mind you, we were up 20 points, the fact that someone used Tarek's DNP as an excuse to go after Coach B, and again, I'm not talking about a Pana fan, I'm talking about an Olympiacos, quote unquote, fan, is unfathomable to me. We've said this many times here. I've said this on the football shows. Gav has said this many times. Greek fans can't go a game without complaining. And again, I'm not excluding myself. I'm not just putting myself on a pedestal. I've been unnecessarily harassed many times. But I've tried, especially now for the past few years with this, I've tried to tone it down. Okay? I've tried to tone it down. I've tried to take a breather every time I want to go insane. And I've talked about it more with the football, given how it's been going. I've tried to take a breather. As much as I want to say some stuff, I've tried to take a breather. I've tried to work with logic. I've tried to talk with logic to all of you, because I do want to actually, as much as I want this to be like a communicative first, like a way more unbiased, a way more relaxed form of media, and to actually give you all something to enjoy and watch. I don't just want to go insane over stuff, and I do want to give you all the room to agree with me and disagree with me. Try to take a breather every time. Write more with logic. And again, I'm saying this with as much respect as possible. Please think about what you're writing throughout the games, because we can all fall victims to our own emotions very, very easily. And again, I'm not talking about like even criticism, like proper criticism. I've said this myself many times. It's needed, it's wanted. Like, I'll bring myself in as an example. You may not like what I do. You may not like this platform. You may not like how I conduct myself in some stuff, some posts, a style, or anything. I'd want you to tell me. I'd want you to message me. I'd want you to comment about it so I can fix it. So I can genuinely just fix it to better myself, better the content. But if you comment to a creator, and I feel like the example here just goes 10 times with a team or a player. Because again, some people forget that players have socials. You can't write about a player and not expect it to land on their homepage. It's happened many times, and a lot of us don't even know it. You can't just go at someone unnecessarily because you want to just let your nerves out, your stuff out, and you found an excuse. And expect it to not backfire or to be beneficial in any way. We need to be behind this team. That's my main point. This team deserves the support, and it's shown it many times. And the support yesterday was great. It was great. I honestly expect it to be even better tomorrow, but the atmosphere yesterday was amazing. So why even be a vocal minority against it? That I will never honestly get. And to talk stat-wise, as always, Nico Milutinov dropped 13, 10, and 3 with a block to his name, the block party of Olympiacos last night as well, with a lot of people getting blocks for themselves. And showed why he's the best big in the league by a mile and a half. Now, these two, I'm so happy about these two. I'm super happy about these two. And of course, these two being Corey Joseph and Donta Hall. Before I go about talking about their performances separately, the fact that we saw a guard, a point guard, take on his man, damn near floor him while crossing him, give a no-look pass, mind you, for the big, to dunk over the man marking him. I think I've watched that play like 20 times ever since yesterday, and I still can't believe it. I've said this before. I've gotten flack over saying this before. Many people are saying it now, so I'll bring it back up. If Corey Joseph can bring the AC low effect to this team, I don't even know how. I feel like there hasn't been a more unpredictable blessing for this team ever since AC Low himself. I want to give a shout out to someone. I'll link his post below. The man that was saying, of course, I'm talking about Vangelis Strakoulis. The man that was saying that we should bring in Corey Joseph. I'm trying to think from when. I feel like it's been about a year, maybe even more. And no one really gave much attention to it, of course. Those who do watch NBA know who Corey Joseph is. You can't not know who Corey Joseph is. The man has 860 something regular season games in the NBA and 87 playoff games in the NBA. The man is an NBA champion. And from the moment he came in, it's a bit like Donta again. He got doubts towards him just because someone had to. It took him a minute to catch up to Euroleague standards. It did, of course it did. He hadn't played, the man hadn't played basketball in about 8 months. Of course it took him a minute. But he knew. He knew the work he had to put in. He knew the comments. Barjokas knew the comments. Barjokas addressed the comments about Corey Joseph. He himself said so as well. One of his first interviews, I don't remember if it was his first post game or if it was a bit later, was the fact that he was at 60-70%, that he knew the work that he had to put in to get to 100. And we're here months later on game 1 of the Euroleague playoffs, and Corey Joseph drops 13, 2, and 4 on 80% shooting and just has perhaps one of the most point guard defining games I've personally seen. Corey Joseph and Donta Hall, of course, who is the man that started that block party that I mentioned before, had 4 and 5 with 3 blocks. And again, I'm pretty sure those blocks came at around 7-8 minutes of game time. The rise of form that these two have had, the work they put in, is indescribable, unbelievable, and perfectly done. Both Donta Hall and Corey Joseph, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure Donta had his name sung by the fans, I think. Corey did as well. If he didn't, he certainly deserves to hear it tomorrow. These two are becoming cult heroes very, very quickly. These two together as a duo, and the best example for that is the play that I brought up. These two together as a duo are perfect definition. And I feel like these two will be way, 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 way more crucial than we even realize now. If anything, they've both solidified themselves as Olympiacos players next season. No matter what happens. You keep them both no matter what it takes. This man, Corey Joseph, had an unbelievable game, and the fact that he did outshine Thomas Walkup says enough. But I feel like, once again, as per usual, this man's game went a bit under the radar. Of course, Thomas Walkup had 3, 4, and a 7, and once again I'm proven right that even if Thomas Walkup goes on to have a mediocre-ish game, he will never be under 5 assists. And once again, this man easily gets 7. The complementary just assets that Thomas Walkup and Corey Joseph bring to the team makes them both active starters. And there is nothing better in modern basketball than having 2 active starting point guards, especially at a time like this. I know the feeling. It's okay. Yeah, there is a reason to put a parenthesis in this. There is a reason I never mention YouTube notifications, and there is a reason that I keep insisting that you all keep checking out the socials, because I never expect YouTube to send out live notifications to anyone. That's why I try and update all the platforms of when exactly I'm going to go live. But of course, everything is going to be kept after on YouTube as it has been up to now. Going back to my point, these 2 together just make it seem effortless. I know the flack that Thomas has caught throughout the season. I know the criticism that he's caught. And as things stand, I heard a point that I really found funny, but I'm starting to agree. I feel like if the time isn't split completely evenly, I feel like Corey Joseph will be the one to be playing those 25 minutes as the series goes on, and then some. But again, whoever is actually starting, they'll know they have basically an active starter behind them for the plays that are needed. And going back to the point of the assets that they bring complement each other so well, they can cover each other for any situation, honestly. And that's the most mind-blowing thing. Slalom του Joseph έχω να δω από παίκτη μας πολλά χρόνια. Αυτό έλεγα, the point, it's the AC low point all over again. I think that we genuinely haven't seen a crossover like that ever since the man himself, AC Low, back in 2013. But yeah, moving on to a man that went a bit under the radar as well, and that's Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier almost picked up a double-double for himself as well, having 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. Once again, proved the point that the man is an all-around all-star. The man is an all-around all-star. He was the best performer in a very mediocre long-range night. And while he didn't need to make plays tonight because we had, as I said, basically the definition of two playmakers at the point guard position, he was incredible defensively. He was unbelievable defensively. And once again, he showed that even when he is not having the best of games, because I do believe that we'll see even better from Evan Fournier, when the ball is hot, the French speaks, right? He's a vet. He's a vet, and so is Corey Joseph. And those two will speak their game way better than we think, I feel like. And I can't wait to see absolutely everything that these two have to bring as time comes. And the last performance I want to talk about for today is this man. Because you're having a player that isn't on his night, really isn't. Especially for a start, we know that the man is a momentum player, and when he doesn't start well, it will take him some time. And then something just snapped. And we go back to the point I made earlier on in the season. Even when Tyler has bad nights, the standard he set for himself this year, he'll give you like 13, 2, and 1. And he did exactly that. He gave 11, 1, and 1 with one of the most psychotic, one of the most insane baskets I've seen in my lifetime in any competition, that's for sure. When he gets fouled from the logo and scores a 3, not contested, fouled. But sadly, good on Coach B for trying to actually get that with a challenge. But sadly, the foul got given low, so that insane 3 didn't count. But solely the fact that he attempted that, and solely the fact that it just went in, because Tyler Dorsey can score from absolutely everywhere, apparently, is a testament in and of itself, let alone everything else that he did in the game, that this man is a different beast this season. This man is a different player this season, and God, I hope he plays tomorrow. I'm hoping and praying and everything in between that Tyler Dorsey plays tomorrow. For those of you that didn't catch it, Coach B said that both Tyson Ward and Tyler Dorsey are rehabbing, and will know exactly what happens and what will happen tomorrow. No disrespect, of course, to Tyson Ward. I love the guy. He's an incredible player. But we're going back to the point I said before, in which the depth can cover him if he misses a game. Again, knock on wood, I hope it's nothing more than a game. But since we've seen that it will probably be that he's listed and available, I'm not going to panic if we don't have Tyson for a game. On the other hand, if we don't have Tyler for a game, I'm going to panic. He brings stuff that no one else can. And I am more than confident that Evan can come in and score 30 if he needs to, because he will. He said this before. This man will come in and do whatever he must to help the team, whether that's defend, assist, or score. And he can score 30. What I'm worried about is that over the length of the game, and when one needs to see it, we'll have a massive dip offensively. So I hope Tyler is well. I hope Tyler plays. But, of course, I'll close off more or less as I opened and say that this was just a win. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves. We need to take it step by step. It's not a lot of steps, it's 5 steps, but we need to take it step by step. We did the first, and now we need to do the second. We can't let Monaco sniff a game, let alone a break. And as we do our duty and secure the two home games, then I'm even willing to talk about a sweep. Last night we showed up at around 70%. We need to show up at around 100. Just roll over them even worse than we did last night. And go to Monaco and end the series as it should. And honestly, we all need to take a breather as well because playoff basketball is stressful. Thank you all once again for joining. And whether you're watching afterwards, thank you for watching. Thank you for catching up. I hope Game 2 and Game 2's recap is equally as positive. And I won't look like a complete hobo. I swear, I am aware of how messy my hair is. And yeah, I have a very, very, very good feeling about the season. And I hope you all share it as well. Comments, questions, and everything in between are more than needed and wanted. Whichever platform you may be listening on, whether that's YouTube, whether that's Spotify. And as always, the support you all give is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that like the numbers are insane, the love is insane, and I can't thank you all enough. But the way that I can thank you is giving it all back to you tenfold through the content. And that's something I'll never stop trying to do. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.